Hi, I'm Kurt from Oz Armour. Welcome to Workshop Wednesday. Work is now finally about to begin on assembling the running gear on our KV-1S. But before we do that, we need to remove the I-beams that were used to help fit the new plate to the original plate. Last episode, we were working on the drive sprocket hub for the left side of the vehicle. We still have to make the stub axle for it. Now, obviously, this is not how it would have been originally, but by the time Beau is finished, you'll never know the difference. Lining up this axle is a lot trickier than it looks.
Now we've got it centered, we need to make sure that it's square. This is the hard part.
Is it square?
Square-ish. It doubles as a hammer sometimes, I've noticed.
It could be a gun too. Ooh.
So it looks like it needs to pull that way. Just check this side and see what it's doing. So that's showing the opposite of the other side, which is a good thing. So that means that this surface here just isn't dead flat right across. And that's because this surface was pushed in. So at the back here, where there wasn't much damage, this is actually true on top here to the bottom of this flange. So all of this is all flat. Whereas if you come over to here, this plate is actually tapered in, and you can physically see that it's tapered in. And that's from where this plate has been pushed and squashed inwards. We're not going to get a true reading with a square on this here. We're going to get it close enough. So I'm pretty confident on where to attack this in place now. The larger the gap is at the bottom of the square means we want to attack on the opposite side so that we pull this over and it sort of straightens things up. We want to make sure that that gap is pretty consistent right the way around.
We got quite a few questions last episode about using MIG wire on the original parts. One of the things we've found working with the KV-1S is the cast armour actually takes MIG welding wire without cracking. Basically, it comes down to what is in the steel. Most World War II armour plate, especially German rolled armoured plate, has a lot of carbon and other alloying elements in it. This is what makes it good at stopping shells, but it also is what makes it really hard to weld. When the steel heats up and cools back down, the area around the weld becomes extremely hard and brittle, and that's where the cracks start. Stainless rods solve that problem because the weld stays soft and flexible enough to handle the stress. Soviet cast armour on the KV-1S is a completely different story. It has a simpler composition with less carbon and fewer alloying elements, so the steel around the weld does not go as hard and brittle when it cools. That means we can get away with the standard MIG wire and still get a sound weld. It's not that Soviet steel is better or worse than anything else we work with, it's just a different recipe, and it happens to be more forgiving when it comes to welding. Beau has moved on to the more complete right side housing. For this one, he's cleaning up the damaged collar and inserting a new axle that will be welded in. Off camera, Beau welded this all together, and now it's ready to be fitted to the housing. The return roller axles we completed a few weeks ago can now be fitted. Beau has made some bearers for them, fitted inside. The old frame was too badly damaged and not worth the time to restore. With the idler axles mounted, Beau could test fit the right-hand track tensioning unit and the wheel. It all came together really well, but we still have to fit the left side. I can basically hear everyone's skin crawling at the sight of this bearing, but in fact, for our purposes, this is completely usable.
No, not bad. For a smashed up bearing.
It only has to support the wheel and maybe allow a tiny bit of movement. The entire vehicle is being moved into the museum on the trolley, so none of the running gear is actually going to be supporting any weight. When it arrives at its exhibition space, it's going to be put on stands, and there it will stay.
Nice.
That slipped in because of this crack here. So the wheel's actually been relieved, it's no longer round. So that's why that just slipped in. If we wanted to, we could put some bearing retaining compound on the surface in here, but we don't need it because this isn't actually going to be moved ever.
We've received a big load of parts back from the sandblasters. Have a look at these drive sprockets. They're enormous, even bigger than the Tiger 1. Beau needed a hand with this next step. Unfortunately for him, everyone else was quite busy, so I was conscripted into service.
Down we go. Watch out, it comes back at you. Stay with it. Oh. Wait, go up a little bit. Cool. Now, originally these bolt heads went the opposite way. So
The bolt heads went the opposite way. What do you mean by that?
Because the planetary housing inside actually had tapped holes in it. And the bolt went straight into the planetary housing and held that. I only know that because we've got one on that side still.
Was there a washer or anything, or did they just wind it
They
in?
had locking washers, 2 tabs with a split in the center, and they folded one this way and one up that way. So one on the nut, one on the surface. So
That's what these scallops are for?
That's what that's for.
Gotcha.
Now what we're going to do is put the spacer on. We're going to see if this is enough to get the sprocket housing in the right spot. We want to go off the front first because we know that that's the original distance for that wheel to sit. That is our data point. We want to make sure that the sprocket at the back measures the same as that or close to. All right. Stop. Boy. So we got enough here? Yeah, it's like flush.
Yeah. So this is the axle here. This is the bearing inner. So if we just put the plate that Beau made earlier on and screw it down, this should retain the sprocket. We'd approach it very differently if it was a running vehicle, but because it's static, the bearing isn't really acting as a bearing. It's more of a support for the wheel. So it's not actually functional. So the paint in there, we'll just pretend you didn't see it.
No, seriously, it's the wrong way around.
You're joking. Is there a difference?
Put it on the wrong way. God.
Oh, off it comes then. Watch your knees.
Yeah, yeah. This is tough. Yeah. Yep. So see this side here? This is where the cover plate goes on.
That's better. That is very satisfying. Thank you for that honour. So shall we see if it lines up?
One thing I want to note here before we go putting string lines across things is remember how bad the return rollers are. Basically, a return roller should spin true, right? We've got the surfaces are original, everything about this is original. All we've done is replace the bearings. So basically, when you spin this wheel, so the wheel's rocking side to side. This wheel's actually pretty good, I think, considering this one over here. This is the real impressive one. The stub is true. The bearings are true on the stub. It's the wheel itself.
The wheel's all deformed.
Yeah, and
is that from being destroyed or blown up? That's from the factory.
It's just poor manufacturing, I suppose. It didn't matter.
Wow.
It didn't matter. But could you imagine the rattling going on inside when this bloody thing here is spinning around like that? Man, yeah, that would not be fun inside. So any sort of vibration like this is going to travel through the stub, through the bolts, into your hull, and then it's going to cause vibrations inside. And you've got 6 of these doing the same thing on the outside of the vehicle, as well as track.
A massive engine in here.
The huge engine, transmission, man, this thing would have just been a nightmare.
Screaming along.
Yeah, you wouldn't have had any hearing left after a couple of hours in this thing, I could imagine. Plus, everything would be numb from the vibrations. Center of the sprocket, that's set to where it is. We can adjust it in and out. Idler wheel, that's set to where it is. We can adjust it, but we don't need to because that's the original position. So when it comes to return rollers, it's hard to tell where the center is because it sort of wanders wherever it wants. So you can put a string line here and it's 20 mil away from the edge, and then you rotate and it's 5 mil away from the edge. So these aren't an accurate point to go off. If you see a string line touching one edge, it's not because of me, it's because someone made the wheels wrong.
Let's go a bit more.
Yep.
There we go. That's nice. Very good.
I just want to check the wheel.
Beau now heads to the front of the vehicle and gets the center of the idler wheel. The drive sprocket is going to be packed and centered based off the measurement that we get here.
370.
Is that different to the other side?
The other side's like 380, I think.
Oh.
it's pretty close. So we're talking 4 to 5 mil, yeah, if that. So 370 that side, 373.87 that side. So 370, it's perfect.
Okay, perfect.
It's exactly the same as the front. Oh, spot on too. 373.87.
So the next part we're going to be working on is the swing arms. On the hull wall, there's these swing arm retaining collars. Beau's got to make a couple of new ones, but a lot of these, which we're going to put on the side with the most original gear on, are in good enough condition to use. So this is the thing that Beau's had to make on some of them. So that's how it goes, and the swing arm slips in to this whole assembly. So we won't actually be using this as a system to retain our swing arms. They'll be held in adequately with this retaining plate on the outside, and Beau's going to make something a little more simple to retain them on the inside. And that should be enough for the vehicle that we're making, which won't be running. The first swing arm we want to do are these front ones. But in order for us to test fit them in, these wheels have to come off. That's what we're going to be doing next.
Just grab it evenly. Go up with it up. Oh, that's right. Good. Good. Hold on. Watch my bearings. Alright, should be right. Just careful of that front bearing, eh?
Okay. Yeah, nice. Nice. Dong.
This is perfect, but I've got it.
Now it's not a running vehicle. One thread is enough. You might get one on. You might get one in here.
What we need to do is we need to get. Once it drops in,
Yeah. Yeah.
then
Yeah. There we go.
wait.
Down more.
Yep. Alright. A bit more. More. Alright, stop. That's it. Yeah, that's it. So see how the weight pack in now?
Yeah. Okay.
Because this thing here is hitting this, and it's wanting to pull
Oh
this back
right,
out.
I see. Yeah. Lifting physics.
Can you pull that back to you, please?
What?
This here.
This?
Yep.
These don't need washers or anything, do they?
Not now. I can take one at a time, put a spring washer on if we need.
One swing arm.
What are you laughing at? I need it to go down so I can get this last bolt in.
Oh yeah, okay. Give it a good karate kick.
I'll go around later and put a washer behind them, but. So yeah.
Great.
Oh, Lee, what are you doing? That'll be alright, just leave that one.
Job done.
Yeah. Thanks.
So we'll go edit now, and Beau will do the rest of these.
You put these wheels back on.
Oh yeah,
See if
true.
they fit.
Okay. Yeah,
Stop. Maybe a bit more.
Yep.
Stop. Here you go.
Oh,
Go down a bit.
yeah, I know.
Oh yeah. Go down a bit more. A bit more. Down. Stop. Down. Oh yeah, that's lucky.
Too much. You're bloody.
You're bloody lucky, yeah.
You're bloody. Pretty good at your job. Oh.
Perfect. Steal your glory. Just double checking your work, right? Alright. Let's put the other one on, eh? Yeah, that's about right. That should be easy.
Look at that. Straight on. Got to put the bearing in.
So up a bit.
It's going to enrage so many people.
At least we didn't hit it in with a steel hammer.
Yeah, like we usually do.
Stop. Alright, I go down. One step closer.
The director of the museum managed to acquire 2 original mud scrapers which mount just in front of the drive sprocket. The only problem is they're both the left side, so Beau is taking the damaged one and making it work. That's all we have time for today. If you want to support the museum and the channel, leave us a like, a comment, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss your weekly tank restoration fix. So until next time, I'm Kurt from Oz Armour, and I'll see you on the next one.